someone had to die for her to get those surgeries paid
This
for.
lady.
No woman at the age of 23, no matter how hard she works, could ever afford all of that.
This is a prime example of las tías criticonas, esas señoras criticonas in our Latino community that only talk, nomás hablan porque tienen boca. Se la pasan criticando, judging, making assumptions, and think that they know better and they're here to teach you some type of lesson. Imagine making multiple videos with misinformation, things that you're reading on social media and online and not even fact checking, to try to prove some point, to try to gain some views, some likes, and talk down on a woman that is not even here anymore, and to say that you're upset that this made national news, and what about all the other women? Why are we comparing one tragedy to another? If anything, we should be glad that the spotlight is on Mexico right now, that the whole world is watching. All of this constant victim blaming that is always on the woman, because that's how it is in our Latino community, we can never actually get to the root of the issue, is fucking annoying. And señoras like this need to keep their mouths.
Someone for that was blood money. I just want to bring into perspective what we're talking about here. Because yes, it's a tragedy. This young woman lost her life in the most terrible way possible, in front of millions of people. But let's not forget, she played with fire and she got burnt. I also don't think she didn't know it was going to happen. Because history tells us that you go out with these guys, it's not going to end well. And she knew her life was in danger. And finally, I'm a little upset that this made international news. And yet, 10 women lose their lives in Mexico, and we don't hear about it.
Now, since 2001, 50,000 women in Mexico alone have been unalived. And a huge factor of women being unalived has to do with the cartel. Now, Valeria Marquez, if we want to talk about getting to the root of an issue, the hat lady is on point. And the fact that so many people are saying, oh, she's listing all her surgeries, how dare her? What is this? Why is this her business? This is victim blaming. No, it's not. Because who you date matters as a woman. What type of man, especially a man that is affording your lifestyle, and how he's getting his money matters. I used to work, okay, in the club industry. And I alone, working in the club industry in the United States, was able to make a lot of money every single month. Now, I have gotten surgery before. Now, that's another video in itself, okay? And my surgery cost $8,000. Me upkeeping to have this surgery took a lot of effort. Now, imagine a regular Mexican woman living in Mexico. That's a whole nother different story, baby. People raising questions on how she got her money is fair. Because again, people are saying, well, Valeria Marquez, she took out a loan from her father in order to start her salon. Okay? That doesn't explain the luxury vacations she's taking. That doesn't explain the luxury high-end fashion brands that she's wearing. That doesn't explain all the surgeries that she has and upkeeping those surgeries. That doesn't even explain her taking all these private jets as well. Now, allegedly, Valeria Marquez was also dating El Doble R, okay? The double R is Ricardo Ruiz Valesco, and he is known to be in the cartel, okay? Now, also, Valeria Marquez was living in Jalisco, okay? A place in Mexico that is heavily present with cartels. Now, if you think that the cartel does not run Mexico, you're fooling yourself. Especially certain states in Mexico, please, baby. This is one of the reasons why the USA is starting to question if it needs to go to war with the cartel, because the Mexican government doesn't even have control of the cartel in a lot of places. As someone who has worked in the club industry, I can tell you, baby, that just like some men say you cannot turn a hoe into a housewife, the same can be said about a dangerous man. You cannot turn a dangerous man into a husband. And a lot of women really believe this. And a lot of women don't even ask enough questions about how a man is getting his money. And a lot of women do believe that they're not going to end up being victims of what this man is doing, illegally or not, okay? If any man is doing anything illegal, even selling weed, you should not be with that man, because you're putting yourself in danger as a woman. If that man has no concern about his own safety, what makes you think that man is going to have concern over your safety or any children that you bear from him? Please, let's be for real. Now, I have dated someone that I met from the club industry, and do you want to know how it ended? That man tried to unalive me. I had to escape that relationship because he was trying to unalive me by choking me from room to room. Okay, so when people come online and say, hey, you need to be careful about the types of men you date, especially when they're dangerous, and if a man is affording your lifestyle, you should be concerned about where that money's coming from. If somebody comes online and lets you know that, then you should listen as a woman. It's not because they're trying to victim blame you. It's so you can be cautious, okay? I dated a man who just spent a lot of money on me, okay? We would go to Miami, $6,000 in one day, okay? Just shopping. Now, what came with that was he was an alcoholic. One time, he was literally blacked out and he was just driving. He didn't even know that I was with him that same day until I woke up. And he woke up and he said, how did you get here? Now, I'm running out of time, but I really wanted to say this. One of my former friends has told me that sometimes our lives that we deem as boring, or our relationships that we deem as boring, is actually just peace, right? Because some of us tend to pick people that are chaotic, treat us in a very chaotic way, or put us in chaotic situations. Why? Because we are unhealed. Okay, that is why loving yourself is so crucial, ladies, because just because a man is spending money on you, that is not love. Okay, the way a man treats you, a man putting you in a safe situation, that is love. A man putting you in harm's way, that is not love, baby. Okay, it's so crazy to me how the people that are criticizing the hat lady are missing the point. The point is the cartel is a huge issue in Latin American communities, especially when it comes to femicides, and also putting our own men against us, right? There is also a huge gang issue in the Latin American communities, and how some of our women really do think that siding with killers is going to keep them alive. No, baby. You're adding to the situation. You're adding to the destruction of our own communities. The hat lady brought up a huge issue. Who we date, and for us to be careful, especially men who are just balling out on us.